What is up, Packers fans, and welcome back to another edition of the Daily Draft, brought to you by Badger State Brewing in lovely Green Bay, Wisconsin, just minutes from beautiful Lambeau Field. I'm your host, Ross Uglem. Down in beautiful Arizona, my sister's getting married, but that will not stop us from getting you guys the Packers draft content that you require on a daily basis, because this is, after all, the Daily Draft. Today, we are talking about one of the potentially shocking first-round picks, one of the picks that I've been talking a little bit about, Jacob Morley's been talking a little bit about, and it's something the Packers haven't done since 2002. And not only that, but it's also kind of something that the Packers already have on the roster. And the question is this: what if you had two Christian Watsons instead of one? We are talking about LSU's wide receiver, Brian Thomas Jr. Thomas Jr. is a really, really interesting player. As I mentioned, I would say, honestly, my comp for BTJ probably ends up being Christian Watson. Now, we don't have agility numbers for Brian Thomas Jr., but all of the rest of it is scarily Christian-like. 6'3", 210. I think Christian is 6'4", 208, 38 and a half inch vert, 10'6" broad, 4.34 in the 40, 9.97 RAS. Christian's a 9.96 guy. This is freak show stuff. This is beat you down the field stuff. And honestly, sort of like Christian, this is unrefined. This is exciting. This is what could be more than it is what is. A lot of folks, and I think me included, I'd have to look at the number. I think me included. Excuse me, guys, a little bit still fighting it. He might be wide receiver four, potentially even for me. And ultimately, that means there's still a gap. What I mean by that is, look, whether it's your wide receiver four is Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell, you might be a Ladd McConkey person. There's a number of options. But I do want to make it clear that Malik, his teammate Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Rome Odunze are fully on another level. It's not like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is not to talk any junk about Brian Thomas Jr., because he's an exciting prospect, and we'll definitely get into some of that right now, because he is an exciting prospect. He does have a first-round grade for me, and he's very similar again to Christian when I talk about Christian. Great acceleration, great top speed, and all of that is very much within the realm of his testing. It's on film and on the RAS, so that's what you like, right? You like to marry the film with what you see when he does test, and I think very much a ball winner, right? Like, I think people will say, and I think even Sam Munson from Pro Football Focus has said that he is MVS. I'm not willing to go there. I do think Brian Thomas Jr.'s absolute floor, and just like what he's guaranteed to be able to bring you, is MVS. And MVS is now a third contract NFL player. Now, do you want more than that in the first round? Yeah, you do. You want more than that in the first round. With that said, though, I do really think that is the absolute floor. I think where he is beyond MVS, and even frankly beyond Christian Watson as a prospect, is at the line of scrimmage. Does an excellent job getting stacked, and what that means is you get the corner. How quickly can you get the cornerback in trail position? Brian Thomas Jr. does not have a Devontae Adams release package, but he has a more advanced release package than a lot of people, a lot of wide receivers, even wide receivers that are still sort of trying to beat you more in the short and intermediate game. Even though Brian Thomas is trying to beat you in the deep game, Brian Thomas Jr.'s release package to me is that of a more intermediate player, and I strictly mean that as a compliment. He is very, very good at the line of scrimmage. Smooth mover, man, and that was the special thing about Christian at North Dakota State. You see And that's why, I mean, obviously, like I do wish that the agility drills existed. I wish we did have the three cone numbers. I wish we did have the short shuttle numbers because that change of direction does look so special on tape. Um, it he's not what I would call, and we've had these conversations about Trey Benson. We've had these conversations about a couple guys. He's not what I would call a linear athlete. And the linear athlete thing is cool if you're really explosive, but it's also kind of a backhanded compliment, right? And that's not how I see Brian Thomas Jr. at all. Does a good job tracking the football. Really, really does a super good job of tracking the football. Does a good job over the shoulder. Does a good job in contested catch situations. Just when it's in the air down the field, I think he does an excellent job. Got the drops, and that's that goes right to the. Frankly, we're at the cons part of it now. Has the drops that goes right to the Christian conversation. Right when we're making what if you had two Christian Watsons discussion, argument, whatever. Brian Thomas Jr. You look at. I'll pull up his PFF college stuff right now because I noticed drops on drops on film, but I'd like to get the actual numbers so we can get kind of locked in on sort of a comparison. Where he was at compared to other folks. You're looking at 13 drops in 3 years, 13 drops on 176 targets, 13 drops against 127 catches. His drop percentage was 9.3. Did improve every year, though. So that is something to put in the pros. If we're going to put drops in the cons, which I would just say in general, 13 drops in 3 years is too many, especially when you're not a super high volume guy, because obviously Neighbors is more of the high volume guy. But for his drop percentage to decrease every season, 2 thumbs up. We like that. That's progress. That's good. That's development. We like that in a prospect. Okay, so drops are real. And again, kind of frankly, to the Christian conversation, wish he played stronger. When you are a 99th percentile athlete, wish there was more fighting through contact. Wish he was more of a ball winner. I would argue Christian is even more of a ball winner. You look at Christian's contested catch rate as a rookie in the NFL, even honestly what his contested catch rate ended up being after a slow start in 2023. I think Christian is stronger to the football even than Brian Thomas Jr. You think about the size at 6'3", 210, it's like, I wish BTJ was more of a physical mismatch than he is. And the rest of it, I would just say on the con side would be he's not refined. He's not Devontae, and very few people are. But like short routes, intermediate routes, he can run a decent slant. Like that stuff's fine. Double breakers, post corner post, blaze out, whip route, like multiple break routes. He's just not a technician at this time. That's not what he is. But you get him with somebody like Jason Vrabel, Packers' new wide receiver coach, Ryan Mahaffey, you could have something. And he's just a ball of clay. And definitely Christian insurance. And that's when you get back to Packers fit is like, I hope Christian plays 17 games next year. He played, and this is, some people don't know this. His dad has done a good job of pointing this out. Christian played 52 consecutive college games. It has been unfortunate the way things have worked out for him in the NFL, but he played in 52 consecutive college games. 51 consecutive college games before he had a little hamstring, unfortunately, issue as a senior. He was an available guy. Hasn't been in the NFL. Brian Thomas Jr., Christian Watson insurance. But even if he's not insurance, even if he's just the fifth guy, in year 5 that you're rolling with are Christian Watson, deep. Brian Thomas Jr., deep. Dontavion Wicks, 92% of what you were getting from Devontae Adams. 88.5% of what you were getting from Devontae Adams. Romeo Dubs does the thing that he does. Jaden Reed, slot monster. If you're two X's, if you're two outside, get like FU, you have to account for me, guys, are Christian freaking Watson and Brian Thomas Jr. My God, you're hard to match up with. And that's the big time Packers fit. And look, like if things don't go great with Christian, well, then you took another swing at that position. And if Christian gets hurt again and he doesn't get a second contract in Green Bay, which by the way is not the way I think things are going to go, but then you let Christian walk after 2025 and Brian Thomas Jr. still has 2 years left on his deal. But ultimately, it's just about stretching the field and being a problem. And BTJ, I think, has a chance to be like 110% of MVS or 115% of MVS. And I say that as a compliment and understanding that MVS has like multiple 6, 7, 800-yard seasons in the NFL. I think Brian Thomas Jr. can be MVS plus. And that makes him a great Packers fit. And it gives him a round one grade for me. So ultimately, we're talking overall as we approach the 12-minute mark here. Brian Thomas Jr., player number 24 for me, wide receiver 4, right there on the same level for me with Xavier Worthy. Now, Xavier Worthy won't even be on Green Bay's board at 165 pounds. So even though they are exact same grade, wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, player 24, player 25, understand that I don't believe Green Bay's even dreaming about Xavier Worthy. I think if the board falls a certain way, they might be looking at Brian Thomas Jr. I don't know. Very Packersy type. I would guess a tier 1 fit. I should know that as a purveyor of the Green Bay Draft Guide. And that's where we'll wrap it up, guys, is buy the Green Bay Draft Guide. Powered by Pack Report. Use promo code DAILY for 10% off here, Daily Draft. Follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm at Ross Uglem. Do everything you're supposed to do here at the Pack a Day Podcast YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, click the bell, get the notifications, get all of the daily Packers content that you require. Have a great rest of your Friday, guys. Go Pack, go.